right, clean freaks, we are back in studio, episode 3 with our sterile packaging expert for 2024, Malinda Elammari, the packaging princess herself. Malinda, welcome back to the show. Yeah, it's the royal wave there. Love that. Today we're talking about double pouching or double pill packing, one of the hottest debated topics out there. People have strong opinions about this, and so we're going to try to go in the middle and just talk about process and IFUs and compliance, regardless of, well, I mean, maybe you're going to take a side, but I'm not going to take a side in that fight. So, kick us off here. Yeah. Kick us off and just like, why is this even a practice? Why is double pill packing even a thing?
Okay, let's double down on this one.
Okay.
I'm going to come up with a pun for everyone and they'll know. Okay, so double pouching is utilized within the industry for multiple reasons. So one of the major reasons that it's used is for aseptic presentation. If you have an item, let's say an egg corn manipulator, for instance, right? You've got the tip to it, you've got the piece, you don't sterilize it together. So, but they need it all in one section, right? So maybe they'll put the other piece, like they'll double pouch it so that as a technician in the sterile process, in the sterile field, all I have to do is pull that whole pouch out of the outer pouch, right? And then I have all my contents together. So it makes it much easier for aseptically presenting something. Sometimes it's a matter of the OR prefers double pouching. They want that security so that, if something happens to that outer pouch, they can then open the inner pouch and still have a sterile content. So, there's different reasons why it's done. And sometimes it's a matter of like the length of the item, right? Like we know in the OR, sometimes opening something aseptically and it's a long item, sometimes it's really hard and difficult. So it might be just easier to have an ability for them just pull that pouch out and open it on their field.
Now, you alluded to something that I want to circle back with real quick. You said, hey, if some scenarios, if there's a penetration on the outer packaging, then folks can still use the inner packaging. So I just want to kind of call this out because I'm sure this is a question that you get a lot of times. Hey, we got a pill pack. There's a hole in the outside. Can I still use it? And what you're saying is, based on e-facility guidelines, right? Because you can guideline your way, you can policy your way any way you want to on that. But just best practice compliance-wise, if you got a double pill pack, there's a penetration on the outside. Is the inside one still good?
So in general, we would advise not to use it, right?
Okay.
Like now what I was referring to is, let's say I'm opening the pouch and the outer package, maybe the laminate rips because I'm opening it wrong, right? Like I've seen that happen right there. Or I'm opening the pouch and I accidentally hit it with my arm, right? Like, or the other pouch or something towards that effect,
Okay.
It's another security blanket inside there. But, truthfully, when we get to something like a hole in a pouch, I'm very cautious with, if it's on the outer pouch, there's a good chance you got one on the inner pouch too, because where did that come from? So, I've never seen one on the outer pouch that wasn't done like right there on the spot, like where you can identify the issue and not happen on the inner pouch in all my years, even as a scrub tech, right? So, yeah. So personally, I say, I wouldn't use it. When in doubt, throw it out kind of thing. But once again, that's facility policy and how they deem that and what they say, and it kind of goes to the wraps, right? We get that question all the time. If your blue wrap has a hole in it, the outer one, the second layer is fine. Like, does that mean technically? Yes. So that, you can't use it. So,
right.
Well, you're not supposed to. Let's put it that way.
So, we've alluded to this next point a little bit, but I want to kind of slow down and just ask it directly. So, you gave some scenarios why some facilities may do double pill packing, but let me just ask it maybe another way. when is it not acceptable to do double pill packing?
Yeah. So it all comes down to the packaging IFUs, the validation from the manufacturer. If the manufacturer validated those pouches in a double peel pouch format, then you are good to double pouch. And that's, in conjunction with if your OR says, yes, we want you to double pouch. If not, then you absolutely cannot double pouch. So that's really the determining factor is, was it validated or was it not validated?
And, that issue has been around for a number of years. I know Surveyors Accreditation has really been tagging it, but it still seems like there's a lot of folks out there who are either not aware of that IFU piece, or if they were, maybe they forgot, or, maybe things even through the pandemic got switched over with the kind of pill packs that folks were using, and they didn't go back and say, let me confirm if we did change pill pack manufacturer that this one is also validated for that double pouching. So that's a great point.
And there was a lot of discussion to your point. At one time, I remember there were people saying, no, you absolutely cannot double pouch. And it was like, where did that come from? There's never been any evidence stating that you cannot double pouch. It, once again, was it validated? And if it was, then those test methods were done to prove that sterility still occurs. So,
as we talked about a couple of episodes ago around, best practice for sealing, let's talk now for the last couple of minutes on what are some best practices, or maybe we can flip it the other way and say, what are some common mistakes that people do when they are double pill packing if their packaging is validated to do so?
Yeah. Okay. So this is a good one. Things that we see, double pouching, when utilizing that process, the biggest no-no is folding pouches. And everybody will say, oh, we know you can't fold a pouch. We're also talking about just folding the little tip corners over to fit it inside. You cannot fold, period. It has to be flat. So paper to paper, plastic to plastic. So folding is definitely something that we still see out there. They don't have the right size. Another big one is utilizing two different manufacturers. So if I have manufacturer A and manufacturer B in my facility, I cannot double pouch those two together. They were not validated to do so. So you cannot just say, okay, I'm going to take A and B and put them together. To me, that's like taking McDonald's and burger and going to Burger King and getting some onion rings. Like, it sounds delicious. It's amazing, right? That would be great. But that's not the process. It's not validated like that. So no manufacturer is going to go to another company and say, hey, let me see your peel pouch. Let me validate it. Of course not. They want you to buy more of theirs. So they're going to validate only theirs. So that's something we see a lot when we have two different manufacturers or multiple manufacturers in one facility. The other thing is making sure that your pouches are validated for, like, lumen items, for instance, right? The item you're processing it in. So there are some manufacturers that state in their IFUs that their pouches were not validated with lumen items. So that means Da Vinci items, that means sections, anything with a lumen in it, you should not be putting it inside that pouch. So that's something else to consider and look for. Section 9.5.4 in Amy kind of talks about double pouching, making sure that, like when you are using double pouches, how to lay it, that kind of thing. And then briefly kind of describes and talks about it. Doesn't go into too much detail, but definitely stuff that we need to look at and make sure that we're doing the process correctly.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode. I do want to maybe start next month's episode, even though we're going to be talking about sterile storage for pill packs. I want to talk about the weight issue in these pill packs related to IFUs, but I did want to bring it up because we're running out of time for this one. So we'll start next episode next month with the weight question and then go into storage, and we'll kind of put those two together. But for the audience, I hope you're enjoying this terrific conversation with the packaging princess, Malinda, here. And we'll be right back next month with more information and good news. Hey, This is a year-long series, so we're just now getting started. We're about a quarter of the way through with much more packaging insight and nuance and perspective to come. And like we tell you all the time here at Beyond Clean, until we see you again next month, keep fighting dirty.